everybody, my name is Tanya and this is my TBR for the Mental Health Awareness Readathon. So all I seem to be doing at the moment is participating in readathons, which kind of makes me laugh. But this one I feel is quite important. I think it is important to get this kind of awareness out there. So this past week I've been participating in Book Buddyathon and to varying degrees of success. And I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to devote to this readathon either, but I've got my TBR picked out and I thought I'd just go for it. So the Mental Health Awareness Readathon is being organised by Ashley from Bookish Realm and it will run from May the 16th through to May 22nd, and I will link all the details, Ashley's announcement video and her TBR and all that good stuff down in the description. There's also an official Twitter for the readathon. But basically it's all in the name. It's Mental Health Awareness Month in the US, and so I actually wanted to create a readathon around that to get us all talking and thinking about the various issues in mental health. I think the vast majority of people have been touched in some way, either personally or through somebody they know from some kind of mental health or mental illness issue. I think we've all had that dark period in our lives, and so it's something that I think definitely should be talked about. I think it's definitely good to have an outlet, and I am joining in once again. So there are 5 different challenges for the readathon. I've got my TBR picked out here. I don't know how far I'll get. Like I said, I didn't get as much reading done during Book Buddyathon as I wanted to, so I don't really know how achievable this TBR really is, but I've got something picked out for every challenge, and I figured the talking about it and the act of making a TBR and to at least thinking about it is fulfilling the kind of the goal or the aim behind the readathon. Really is just awareness. So as I said, there are 5 challenges and let's just get into them. So the first challenge is to read a book with green on the cover, and that's because the Mental Health Awareness Month logo is a green ribbon. This pick is a little bit of a cheat in terms of the overarching themes of the readathon, although the challenge is just to pick a book with green on the cover, and this is a readathon, so you would expect no less from me. Are you getting the hint of what this is going to be? And so the book that I picked out for the first challenge is The Secret by K.O. Applegate, which is the 9th book in the Animal series, and very conveniently this one has green as the title and the series title up here, the highlights as it were on the cover. So when I saw that, I just had to laugh, and that kind of was the final icing on the cake of, yeah, I'm going to try and participate in this readathon and see how far I get, because I can't have a readathon and put an Animals book in, like that just doesn't work, and this was the only possible challenge that I could make this fit into. So this is perfect, it's meant to be, and I hope to be reading this next book in the Animal series in this next week. The next challenge is to read a book where the main character suffers from a mental illness or a mental health issue, and for this I have picked out Writers for Witching by Helen Oyemi. This one I don't know all that much about, except it's by Helen Oyemi, which makes me want to read it anyway. But also that the main character in this one suffers from pica. Pica is a disorder where the sufferer has cravings for non-food items. In the case of this one it's chalk, but it could be for things like dirt or paint or cardboard, paper, anything that's not actual nutritious food, but they have this compulsion and this need in themselves to consume that item. And so I thought that this would be a perfect pick for this. I got this one out from the library, hence the shiny and the barcode in the front. The copy I've got here has been classified as adult fiction, but I've seen it classed as both adult and young adult. So I'm interested in reading something that might be a little bit different of Helen Oyemi's work, and yes, very much looking forward to getting into this. Actually, the rest of my TBR is also from the library, so there's that. The third challenge is to read a non-fiction book about mental health or a mental illness, and I've decided to go a little bit different on this one and have picked out this one, which is Dear Stranger, Letters on the Subject of Happiness. This one I thought perfectly fit the theme of this readathon, because this one was published by Penguin in the UK to promote and to raise money for Mind, which is a charity in the UK that raises mental health awareness and is there to support anybody with a mental health issue. And this book has been compiled as an awareness and fundraising campaign for that, which I thought ties in perfectly. It's largely what it sounds like on the cover. I'm going to read the back because it does kind of sum it up perfectly, and I keep stumbling over my words when I try and talk about it. But Dear Stranger is a collection of inspirational, honest and heartfelt letters from authors, bloggers and mind ambassadors to an imagined stranger. Insightful and uplifting, Dear Stranger is a humbling glimpse into different interpretations of happiness and how, despite sometimes seeming unobtainable, happiness can, in the smallest of ways, become an achievable goal. No one should face a mental health problem alone, whether it's on a doorstep or on the end of a telephone or online. Mind is there for everyone experiencing a mental health problem. Well, I'm not somebody who has read a lot of self-help books or has all that much interest in reading self-help books. I think that there are probably going to be quite a few messages that I can take from this one. I am certainly in a quite a good place at the moment, but there are things in my life that I could change, and as I said, we've all had those dark times. For me, as for a lot of people, it was more in my teenage years, but you know, there's always that little demon in your head that, you know, kind of tries to spoil things for you. And so, you know, I'm sure I could take a dose of hearing about happiness and different interpretations of happiness from strangers. And there's some really interesting authors that are listed in here. This is probably the one that I wonder whether I'm going to get through in the week, but because it's just a series of letters, I think I'll kind of skim in and out of this around other things. And if I'm really enjoying it, then I will try and get through this as well. The fourth challenge is to read a book by an author with a mental illness or mental health issue, and for that I have chosen Brighton Rock by Graham Greene. Graham Greene suffered from bipolar disorder, which was something that had reportedly quite a large effect on his writing and, you know, his day-to-day life. Also, Brighton Rock is the story of a 17-year-old boy and kind of gang violence and gang war and murder, and so I feel like we're going to be touching on some kind of you know, mental health issues going on there as well. But in either case, this is something I've been meaning to read for quite a long time, and so I'm very much looking forward to getting to that one. And then the third challenge is to pick a topic relating to mental illness and mental health and to read a book about that. And so this challenge, I have this one, which is Small Acts of Disappearance, Essays on Hunger by Fiona Wright. And this focuses on the author's struggles with eating disorders throughout her life, particularly culminating in life-threatening anorexia. And so the essays are kind of reflecting back on the role and the part that eating disorders played in her life at different periods of her life. This is another book for a project that I spoke about in my TBR video for the Book Buddyathon, and I'm going to film a video about that project today as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that video coming soon. But this is another book that I'm reading for that, and so it was good to have something to tie into this readathon. And again, this was another kind of settler for me that I really did want to participate in this because I had the perfect book to kind of base my TBR and build my TBR around. So these are the books that I've got picked out for the Mental Health Awareness Readathon. Again, I'm not sure how much of this I'm actually going to get through, but they're all things that I'm hoping I can get to. And again, I felt that talking about it and even the act of making a TBR is good for, you know, stopping and thinking and being aware of the effect that mental health issues have on the vast majority of the population. Again, all of the links for the Mental Health Awareness Readathon will be down in the description. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.